All right. Hey, welcome back. Okay, today we're going to talk about correlation. And if you were in class, you already heard this, but I'm going to go through it a little bit quicker since you already know it. Correlation, sometimes difficult to understand, but here's how we're going to start. I want you to say this with me. Correlation. Correlation. Okay? You got it? Co as in two things, relation as in relationship. So correlation is about how two different variables are related to each other. If one of them goes up, does the other one go up or down? If the other one goes down, does the other one go up or down? So how are they related to each other? For example, you might look at the relationship between self-esteem and depression. So if one goes up, does the other go down? I don't know. Or you might look at the relationship between studying time and GPA. If one goes up, does the other go down? I don't know. Let's find out. That's what correlation is about. So the most important thing to remember about correlation is that correlation does not prove causation. Okay, this might be, I'm going to go out on a limb here. This might be the most important thing in all of AP Psych, is to realize that correlation does not prove causation. Okay, shut your eyes, and I want you to try saying it with me. All right, ready? I'm going to say most of it, and then you try to say the last word. Correlation does not prove, yeah, you got it right. That's right, causation. Okay, so with something like GPA and study time, or any of the variables in correlation, there can be three types of relationships. One would be, we looked at these in class, so you might remember this. One would be a positive relationship. So GPA and time spent studying, as GPA goes up, as time spent studying goes up, GPA goes up. In general, on average. Okay, that's not true for everybody. But on average, it goes up. Okay, so that's a positive relationship when they both go up together. Positive could also be that they both go down together. So whenever they go in the same direction, it's a positive relationship. It's no relationship. Where are we here? It's no relationship when the two variables just aren't related to each other. So speed and GPA are not related to each other, and that's what a graph of them would look like. You have some fast people with high GPAs, some fast people with low GPAs. Some slow people with high GPAs, some slow people with low GPAs. So there's no relationship between GPA. So it would look like this. This graph is called a scatter plot, in case you didn't remember. So those are scatter plots. Each dot represents a person. Okay. So down here we have a negative relationship. And in the negative relationship, here we have GPA and amount of alcohol consumed. So if someone drinks a lot of alcohol every night, their GPA is going to go down. So as one goes up, one variable, alcohol consumption, goes up, the other variable, GPA, goes down. So that's called a negative correlation. So we've got a negative correlation, no correlation, or a positive correlation. So those are your options when you have two different variables. Okay, back to the correlation does not prove. Sorry, there's an announcement. Can you hear that?
Rebecca McKeon to the
I don't
main
know.
office.
I'll wait just in case you can. Okay, so back to correlation does not prove causation for a minute. With our example of self-esteem and depression, we know that there's a correlation. Lower self-esteem, more likely to be depressed. Everybody knows that there's a correlation there. But we don't know that it causes it. Okay, so we don't know that that this lower self-esteem causes depression, because maybe depression causes lower self-esteem. Did you think about that? Or maybe there's a third variable, neither depression nor self-esteem, maybe genetics. Maybe your genes cause you to have a low self-esteem and cause you to be depressed. So there could always be a third variable. So that's what we mean when we can't say that correlation proves causation. We just know that they're related. Along those lines, correlation does allow you to predict something. Studies a lot. We could predict they'll have a higher GPA. Not always true, but true most of the time. If someone has a low self-esteem, we could predict they'd be more likely to get depressed. It doesn't always happen. Not everybody with self-esteem gets depressed, but it allows you to make predictions. So the stronger the correlation, the more you can predict. Speaking of strength of correlation, there's a number called the correlation coefficient. And the correlation coefficient can range from +1 to -1. And it shows you how strong the relationship is. So if one variable goes up a lot and the other variable goes up a lot also, that's a strong relationship. And the correlation is going to be close to +1, or maybe it's 0.8 or 0.9. But if one variable goes up a lot and the other variable just goes up a little bit, that's a weak relationship, and the correlation coefficient is going to be close to 0, like +1, +0.1, or +0.2. So how close you are to 0, the closer you are to 0 shows the weakness of the relationship. And the same is true if it goes down to -1, it's a really strong negative relationship. And if it's -0.1 or -0.2, that's a really weak relationship. So the trick question that comes up on the AP exam every now and then, and on my tests as well, will go something like this. If you have a negative 0.8 relationship and a positive 0.2 relationship, which one is stronger? You think you know? The negative 0.8 is stronger. So you disregard the sign, and whichever number is closer to 0, that's the weaker relationship, correlation coefficient. So I think that's it. Correlation does not prove causation. You've got a positive, negative, and no correlation, what that looks like. They're on a scale. The correlation coefficient ranging from +1 to -1 and closer to 0 is the weakest. All right, if you have any other questions or if anything in this video didn't make sense, see me in class and I'll try to help you out again. Thanks for tuning in. All right, am I on? Is it live? Okay, here we go. One thing I need to add to the correlation video is that co does not mean 2. I indicated before that co means 2. Co means jointly or together. So co-relationship is a joint relationship, a relationship between a couple of things. Anyway, just want to clarify that. All right, bye-bye.